Russia's assault on the Donbas is failing catastrophically, and the numbers prove it beyond any doubt. In April alone, Russian forces suffered a net loss of 116 square kilometers, the largest territorial setback since August 2024. But here's what makes this truly significant. Russia launched 1,384 assaults in a single week across the Donbas, averaging nearly 198 attacks per day. That's the highest assault tempo in 2 months. Yet despite throwing absolutely everything at Ukraine's defenses, Russia is gaining less territory than ever before. The math is brutal, and it's getting worse. Let me walk you through what's actually happening on the ground. Between December 2025 and April 2026, Russia lost 156,735 confirmed soldiers. Not estimates, confirmed losses, meticulously tracked by Ukrainian drone operators. And here's the problem for Putin. Russia isn't recruiting fast enough to replace them. It's short by over 8,000 soldiers just to break even on those losses. Meanwhile, the assault tempo is intensifying, not slowing down. That creates a mathematical trap Russia can't escape. The Donetsk fortress belt remains Ukraine's greatest defensive asset. For 12 years, since 2014, Ukraine has been building these fortifications. Rivers, minefields, tank barriers, bunkers, endless kill zones infested with drones. Russia still hasn't reached the actual fortress belt. It's still grinding through the outer settlements, Pokrovsk, Chasiv Yar, Kostyantynivka. And each one is costing Russia thousands of lives for minimal territorial gain. Here's where it gets interesting. Russia is losing 316 soldiers per square kilometer captured in Donetsk. That's nearly double the casualty rate from the same period last year. If that rate holds, Putin would need to sacrifice 1.896 million soldiers to take the remaining 6,000 square kilometers of Donetsk. That's over 500,000 more soldiers than Russia's total casualty count for the entire war so far. Think about that number. Russia would literally destroy its own army to claim a region it's supposed to already control. Ukraine's strategy is brilliant, precisely because it forces Russia into this corner. Ukraine now deploys 30% more strike drones than Russia across multiple sectors. That's a massive shift. Just months ago, Russia had the drone advantage. Now Ukraine is using drones to create kill zones so vast that most Russian soldiers die before they even see the fortress belt. The drones aren't just on the front lines either. Ukraine's middle-range drones strike 100 kilometers behind Russian positions, hitting supply lines, transport routes, support systems. Horlivka, Andriivka, Zalizna, all getting hammered. Russia's logistics are breaking down in real time. Putin set a deadline of September 2026 to capture the Donbas. That deadline is already dead. Ukrainian officials calculated that the current pace of advance from January and February, Russia would need a year and a half just to take Donetsk. And that was when Russia was moving faster. Now, the timeline looks impossible. Every time Putin claims something will happen and it doesn't, that's a strategic win for Ukraine. It undermines Russia's credibility with the West. It signals that Putin's ambitions are disconnected from reality. The fundamental problem Russia faces is that it's spreading itself too thin. It's trying to advance simultaneously in Kramatorsk, Slovyansk, Kostyantynivka, Kurakhove, and a dozen other locations. That fractures its assault. When Ukraine's February counteroffensive reclaimed over 400 square kilometers in the south, it forced Russia to divert reserves meant for other sectors. No reserves means slower progress everywhere. Ukraine made Russia scrap for every inch of Pokrovsk, and Russia lost 15,000 soldiers just in the core sector defense over 6 months. Even as Pokrovsk was on the verge of falling, Russia was hemorrhaging troops. Ukraine's strategy is attrition in the 21st century. It's not about dramatic counterattacks right now. It's about making every square kilometer of the Donbas so expensive in Russian blood that the entire offensive becomes unsustainable. The fortress belt hasn't even been breached yet. Once Russia reaches those fortifications, if it ever does, the casualty rates will spike even further. Rivers, bunkers, endless kill zones, 12 years of Ukrainian preparation. There are really only two outcomes now. First, Russia could push so hard that it utterly destroys its own army to claim the Donbas. That would leave Putin's forces too weakened to hold anything else in Ukraine. Ukrainian counterattacks would become inevitable. Or second, Ukraine's attrition strategy works so well that Russia simply can't advance fast enough to meet any realistic deadline. Then the Ukrainian pushback begins and Russia loses territory it's already taken. The next few months will be decisive. Summer is coming. The weather improves. Drone operations become more effective. Russia's logistics are already breaking. Its assault tempo is rising, but territorial gains are falling. The casualty rate is climbing, and Ukraine has the drone advantage for the first time in this war. Putin's forces are smashing themselves to pieces against defenses that were built for exactly this kind of grinding warfare. Look at what Ukraine is doing beyond just the Donbas. Every gain Ukraine makes elsewhere, every territory it reclaims in the south, every Russian supply line it disrupts, that weakens Putin's Donbas offensive. Russia's stretched thin across the entire front. Its logistics are fractured. Its assault is losing coherence. And the fortress belt is still standing there, waiting. This is the cold, hard battlefield math. Russia is losing more soldiers than it recruits. It's gaining less territory than ever before. It's paying twice as many casualties per square kilometer as it did last year. And it's doing all of this while Ukraine has achieved air superiority in drones for the first time. The momentum has shifted. The Donbas isn't falling. It's becoming a death trap for Russian forces. And Putin's September deadline, it's already a fantasy that everyone can see through.